So in biology, we had a project where we needed to kind of create an animal that would be able to evolve and live in like a specific planet. And the planet I chose was basically a desert with very little trees. The only water sources were really underground, so you had to be able to access them underground. The plants were the only really edible thing, and then it has a very limited uh, food chain. And the animal I came up with, uh, so far the only name is the Davidialis primus. Very unique, the scientific name behind it. Um, but I'm going to explain to you what that animal is, as well as why it has the features that it does. So, um, with I only have one picture here at home, which is this one that I drew. So this is the animal in its natural habitat, the desert. You can see the underground stream, and I'll get to some more of these things later. But I'll kind of walk you through the thought process of what this animal is. So I was thinking about it. I was like, what would be very beneficial in a desert? And so one of its big things is it's able to dig underground. It's able to dig. So I was kind of thinking of a mole, kind of a dog. Like it's kind of like a dog, um, but a mole. It's able to dig and tunnel around, as well as showing some human things, like communication and brains and whatnot. Um, so a very unique animal, obviously. So we're gonna start with um, some of the beneficial traits. So starting off, it's got slightly webbed feet. This is something that is very important because this is a relatively heavier animal, especially in a desert. You want to be able to get around quickly, and so this is able. These like it's kind of like dog paw, but then tough like paw on the knee underneath with webbing, and so it spreads out the weight evenly between its legs, and this allows it to walk around pretty easily on the sand, as well as allowing it, since they're tough, it's allowed easier digging. It's got tough, strong front paws, feet, whatever you want to call it, really. The next one is it's a highly efficient metabolism and bodily functions. So since it lives in a desert where water is very sparse and food is very sparse, it doesn't have super easy access to those things. So its body over time, it's the ones that have the lowest metabolism and use the least amount of water and food and stuff to do activities and whatnot are the ones that survived, and that trait has continued on until now, where we see basically every animal in the species like that. The next one is it's able to understand, I don't know what you call it, the group systems, being able to like work with other animals of the same kind that you can accomplish something bigger. They're able to hunt together, they're able to farm and working together using their brain and their limited communication skills. But think about a dog, barking stuff, like similar, but they're able to communicate back and forth better, more than just like warning a dog or anything. So you kind of think about like you have a dog and a human, about 2/5 of the way in between the two is where you'd find this. That's about where their communication system is at. They're able to communicate with others in their kind to get things done. The next one is very unique eyesight, since they're tunneling a lot and they spend a lot of time underground to avoid predators. We'll get to that later. They have very unique eyesight that allows them to, it really adjusts to being underground, where it's able to, kind of see essentially underground without being like a mole where they're kind of blind, and then also being able to see above ground. Very unique. It has 6 legs, and so the anatomy of this is these are the next two things: the 6 legs and the very weird anatomy. So think about a dog, but then you put 2 legs in between the front and the back. So it's very unique anatomy, and these 6 legs allow it to be very fast, quick, powerful, and very agilic. So it's able to change directions really quick and avoid predators, and that's one big thing that has contributed to them surviving, as well as the very unique anatomy, the way their bones and muscles and everything are structured. They're very like well done. They're built. They're strong, and their front legs especially are super good at pawing. And since they're so muscular, on a 6-legged animal, they're able to run pretty fast. So they're relatively smart. That's the next thing, is their IQ is pretty good. They're able to think. They're able to kind of do actions. They're not really just kind of living there surviving. They've got things going through their heads. They can make ideas. They can kind of do things like not a human, obviously. They're not that smart, but right where I said with the dog and the human, kind of in between. They're able to kind of do things, but not all the way to human. The next one is the vocal abilities. They're able to cast out like a I have it listed as a battle call, but not necessarily what it is. It's able to project something that kind of dispels predators from coming that way. It sounds really mean and gruesome, and you know, since it's not the highest thing in the food chain, it's got to have a way of telling things. No, you can't. Shouldn't come this way. Uh, it's pretty good at hiding. Can run away. It lives underground, so it's able to stay away from a lot of predators. It's very very cool. Very little small farming ability. So since their brains are, semi-developed, they're able to, like I said, form ideas. And one of their ideas, they kind of trial and errored it over time, maybe, but they eventually settled on being able to kind of farm some of those very little plants. The ones that maybe had the idea to farm earlier were the ones that survived, and now it's a thing throughout the entire species. So all these traits are something that is passed down through evolution. Um, Being able to farm obviously gives you your food source in a place that food is not very abundant. So, and then being able to grow it on your own, you don't have to rely on anything else. It's very important, and that's why it's such an advantage and such a good feature. Lastly, also very important, being warm-blooded. If you were a cold-blooded animal in the desert, it'd be very, very difficult for you to, moderate your body temp, especially in a place where streams are only accessible underground. So being a warm-blooded creature, this thing is able to regulate its body heat, and that's what really makes it a good pick to survive.